Have you ever stopped to wonder if the world around you is really what it seems? Picture this. You're walking down a busy street, cars zooming by, people chatting on their phones, the smell of fresh coffee wafting from a nearby cafe. It all feels so real, doesn't it? But what if I told you that this entire world might just be a grand illusion, a trick played on us by our own minds? Sounds crazy, right? But stay with me, because there's more to this idea than you might think. Think about it for a moment. How do you know that what you're experiencing right now is actually real? Sure, you can see it, touch it, smell it. But what if your mind is creating all of this like a super advanced virtual reality game? It's a mind-bending thought, but one that has fascinated philosophers, scientists, and spiritual leaders for centuries. Now, I'm not saying that the chair you're sitting on isn't real, or that the device you're using to watch this video is just a figment of your imagination. What I'm suggesting is that the way we perceive and interact with the world might be more of a mental construct than we realize. And if that's true, it opens up a whole new way of looking at life and our place in it. You might be thinking, okay, that's an interesting idea, but why should I care? Well, here's the thing. If we don't understand how our minds shape our reality, we might be missing out on incredible opportunities to change our lives. Think about it like this. If the world is just a reflection of what's going on in our heads, then by changing our thoughts and beliefs, we could potentially change our entire reality. Imagine being able to shape your life experiences just by shifting your perspective. It's like having a superpower that's been hiding inside you all along. But if we keep thinking that everything we see and experience is set in stone, we might never tap into this amazing ability. On the flip side, if we can grasp this concept and really understand how our minds create our reality, we can start to play life like a game we're meant to win. Instead of feeling stuck or limited by our circumstances, we can learn to navigate life with more ease and purpose. It's like being handed the cheat codes to the ultimate video game, life itself. But I get it, this is a big idea to wrap your head around. So let's break it down and look at how our minds might be creating the world we see around us. Think of your mind as a super powerful computer. It's constantly taking in information from your five senses: sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell, and then processing that information to create your experience of the world. But here's the kicker. Your mind isn't just passively receiving this information. It's actively interpreting it based on your past experiences, beliefs, and expectations. Let's use a simple example to illustrate this. Imagine two people looking at the same painting. One person sees a masterpiece, full of beauty and meaning. The other sees a confusing mess of colors and shapes. Same painting, but two completely different experiences. Why? Because their minds are interpreting what they see in different ways, based on their individual backgrounds, knowledge, and preferences. This doesn't just apply to art. It happens with everything we experience in life. Your mind is constantly filtering and interpreting the world around you, creating your unique version of reality. And the really interesting part is that this interpretation can actually change what you see and experience in the physical world. For instance, have you ever noticed how when you're in a bad mood, everything seems to go wrong? You stub your toe, you spill your coffee, the traffic is terrible. But on days when you're feeling great, those same minor inconveniences might not bother you at all, or you might not even notice them. Your mood, which is a product of your thoughts and beliefs, is actually shaping your experience of reality. This idea goes even deeper. Scientists have found that our expectations can literally change what we perceive. In one famous experiment, people were given two identical wines, but were told that one was expensive and one was cheap. Not only did they report that the expensive wine tasted better, but brain scans showed that they actually experienced more pleasure when drinking it. Their belief about the wine changed their physical experience of it. So if our minds are so powerful in shaping our reality, why does the world seem so solid and unchanging? Well, that's where things get really interesting. Our brains are incredibly good at creating a consistent and believable world for us to live in. They fill in gaps in our perception, make predictions about what we're going to see and hear, and generally work overtime to give us a seamless experience of reality. Think about how you can recognize a friend from far away, even if you can't see their face clearly. Your brain is filling in the details based on your expectations. Or how you can understand someone speaking even if there's background noise drowning out some of their words. Your brain is predicting and filling in the missing information. This ability of our brains to create a coherent reality is amazing, but it also means that a lot of what we experience as real is actually a construction of our minds. We're not seeing the world as it really is, but rather a version of the world that our brains have created based on the limited information available to our senses and our pre-existing beliefs and expectations. Now, this doesn't mean that nothing is real or that we're living in some kind of Matrix-style simulation. The physical world does exist, but our experience of it, the colors we see, the meanings we assign to events, the emotions we feel, is largely a creation of our minds. Understanding this can be incredibly empowering. If our minds are creating our reality, then by changing our thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions, we can change our experience of the world. It's like having the ability to repaint the canvas of your life. Think about how this could apply to your daily life. If you believe that you're not good enough or that the world is a harsh, unfriendly place, your mind will find evidence to support those beliefs. You'll notice every mistake you make and every person who's rude to you. But if you believe that you're capable and that the world is full of opportunities, your mind will start noticing evidence of that instead. This isn't about denying reality or pretending that everything is perfect. It's about recognizing the role that our minds play in shaping our experience of reality and learning to use that knowledge to create a more fulfilling life. So the next time you look around at the world, remember that what you're seeing isn't just what's out there, but a unique reality created by the amazing supercomputer between your ears. And if you don't like what you see, know that you have the power to change it, not by waving a magic wand, but by changing the way you think and perceive. This idea that the world might be an illusion created by our minds is just the beginning. It opens up a whole new way of looking at life, consciousness, and our place in the universe. In the rest of this video, we're going to explore this concept further, looking at how our inner world affects our outer experiences, why everything seems so real even if it might not be, and how we can use this knowledge to play the game of life more effectively. So stick around because we're about to dive deeper into this mind-bending idea. And who knows? By the end of this video, you might just see the world and yourself in a completely new light. Have you ever noticed how two people can look at the exact same situation and see it completely differently? This isn't just a quirk of human nature. It's a perfect example of how our minds shape our reality. Our beliefs, thoughts, and past experiences act like a pair of invisible glasses, coloring everything we see and experience. Let's take a simple example. Imagine you're walking down the street and you see a dog barking. If you love dogs, you might see a friendly pup who's excited to greet you. But if you've had a bad experience with dogs in the past, you might see a threatening animal that's about to attack. Same dog, same barking, but two very different perceptions of reality. This power of perception goes far beyond just how we see things. It actually shapes our entire experience of life. Think about someone who believes the world is a dangerous place. They're likely to notice every potential threat, interpret neutral situations as risky, and feel anxious most of the time. On the other hand, someone who believes the world is full of opportunities will notice chances for growth and connection everywhere they look. The really amazing thing is that these perceptions can actually create real changes in our lives. If you believe you're not good at math, for example, you're likely to avoid math-related tasks, feel anxious when you have to do calculations, and perform poorly on math tests. This then reinforces your belief that you're not good at math, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. But the flip side is also true. If you believe you can learn and improve, you're more likely to practice, seek help when you need it, and persist in the face of challenges. Over time, this attitude leads to real improvement in your skills, proving your belief correct. This power of perception isn't just about individual experiences either. It shapes how we interact with others and how they respond to us. If you believe people are generally kind and trustworthy, you're more likely to approach others with openness and warmth. This, in turn, often leads to positive interactions that reinforce your belief. Understanding this power of perception is like being given a superpower. It means that by changing how you think about and perceive the world, you can actually change your experience of reality. It's not about denying facts or pretending everything is perfect. It's about recognizing that your thoughts and beliefs play a huge role in shaping your world and learning to use that knowledge to create a more positive and fulfilling life. Now that we understand how our perceptions shape our reality, let's dive deeper into the relationship between our inner world and the outer world. When we talk about the inner world, we're referring to our thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and attitudes. The outer world is everything we can see, touch, and interact with physically. Most of us tend to think that the outer world is fixed and unchanging, while our inner world reacts to what's happening outside. But what if it's actually the other way around? What if our inner world is actually shaping what we experience in the outer world? Think about it like this. Have you ever been in a bad mood and suddenly everything seems to go wrong? You stub your toe, you spill your coffee, your computer crashes. It feels like the world is out to get you. But is the world really behaving differently? Or are you just noticing and reacting to negative things more because of your mood? On the flip side, when you're in a great mood, doesn't the world seem brighter? Colors look more vibrant, people seem friendlier, and even mundane tasks can feel enjoyable. Again, the world hasn't actually changed. Your perception of it has. This connection between our inner and outer worlds goes even deeper. Our beliefs and expectations can actually influence our behavior in ways that create real changes in our external circumstances. For example, if you believe you're capable and confident, you're more likely to take on challenges and persist in the face of setbacks. This leads to more accomplishments and successes in the outer world, which then reinforce your inner belief in your capabilities. Similarly, if you believe that opportunities are abundant, you're more likely to notice and act on chances for growth and success. This proactive behavior often leads to more opportunities coming your way, creating a positive cycle between your inner beliefs and your outer experiences. It's important to note that this doesn't mean we can simply wish for things and have them magically appear in our lives. The outer world does have its own reality and laws. But our inner world, our thoughts, beliefs, and attitudes, plays a much bigger role in shaping our experience of reality than most of us realize. Understanding this relationship between our inner and outer worlds is incredibly empowering. It means that by working on our inner world, by changing our thoughts, beliefs, and attitudes, we can actually change our experience of the outer world. We're not just passive observers of reality, but active participants in creating it. One of the most profound insights that comes from understanding how our minds create our reality is realizing that the sense of separation we feel from the world around us might also be an illusion. Most of us go through life feeling like we're separate individuals, distinct from everything and everyone around us. But is this really true? Think about your body for a moment. Where does it end and the rest of the world begin? You might say your skin, but consider this. You're constantly breathing in air from your environment and breathing out air that becomes part of the environment. You eat food that becomes part of your body, and your body is constantly shedding cells that become part of the environment. There's a constant exchange happening between what we think of as us and what we think of as not us. The same is true on a mental and emotional level. Your thoughts and feelings are influenced by the people around you, the books you read, the movies you watch, the society you live in. And in turn, your thoughts and actions influence the world around you. Every interaction you have, every word you speak, every action you take ripples out and affects the world in ways you might not even realize. Here's a simple analogy to help understand this. Imagine you're a wave in the ocean. From your perspective as a wave, you might feel separate and distinct from the other waves. You have your own shape, your own movement. But zoom out, and what do you see? All the waves are actually part of the same ocean. They're not separate at all, just different expressions of the same body of water. In the same way, we might all be different expressions of the same underlying reality. Our sense of being separate individuals might be an illusion created by our minds to help us navigate the world. Understanding this can be a bit mind-bending, but it can also be incredibly freeing. If we're not really separate from the world around us, then in a very real sense, we are the world. Our actions don't just affect us, they affect everything. This realization can lead to a greater sense of connection and responsibility. It can also help us understand why our inner state affects our outer reality so profoundly. If we're not really separate from the world, then changing our inner state isn't just changing ourselves, it's changing the world. This doesn't mean we should ignore our individual identities or responsibilities. Just like waves in the ocean still have their individual characteristics and movements, we still have our individual lives to live. But understanding the deeper connection can help us live those lives with more awareness, compassion, and purpose. Recognizing the illusion of separation can also help us break down the barriers we often put up between ourselves and others, or between ourselves and our environment. It can lead to a greater sense of empathy as we realize that hurting others is really hurting ourselves, and helping others is helping ourselves. So the next time you look out at the world, try to remember what you're seeing isn't something separate from you. It's a part of you, and you're a part of it. We're all waves in the same vast ocean of existence, connected in ways that go far beyond what our eyes can see or our hands can touch. If the world is really just a creation of our minds, why does it all feel so solid and real? This is a question that has puzzled philosophers and scientists for centuries, and the answer lies in the incredible power of our brains. Our brains are like master illusionists, constantly working to create a seamless, believable experience of reality. They take in information from our five senses: sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell, and combine it with our memories, expectations, and beliefs to create the world we experience. Think about how you can recognize a friend from far away, even if you can't see their face clearly. Your brain is filling in the details based on your expectations. Or how you can understand someone speaking even if there's background noise drowning out some of their words. Your brain is predicting and filling in the missing information. This ability of our brains to create a coherent reality is amazing, but it also means that a lot of what we experience as real is actually a construction of our minds. We're not seeing the world as it really is, but rather a version of the world that our brains have created based on the limited information available to our senses and our pre-existing beliefs and expectations. Our brains are also incredibly good at creating consistency. They work hard to make sure that our experience of the world matches our beliefs about it. This is why it can be so hard to change our minds about something. Our brains will actually filter out information that doesn't fit with what we already believe. But here's the really interesting part. Even though our brains are creating this illusion of reality, the experience feels completely real to us. This is because our brains don't just create visual or auditory illusions. They create a full, multi-sensory experience that includes our emotions, our sense of our own bodies, and our feeling of being present in the world. So when you touch a table, for example, you're not just seeing and feeling the table. Your brain is creating a complete experience that includes your expectations about what a table should feel like, your memories of other tables you've touched, and even your emotional associations with tables. All of this comes together to create an experience that feels undeniably real. Understanding this doesn't mean that nothing is real or that we're living in some kind of Matrix-style simulation. The physical world does exist, but our experience of it, the colors we see, the meanings we assign to events, the emotions we feel, is largely a creation of our minds. Now that we understand how our minds create our reality, let's look at how we can use this knowledge to our advantage. One powerful way to approach life is to think of it as a game, a complex, multi-level game where we're both the player and the game designer. In most video games, the player has a character or avatar that they control. This character has certain abilities, strengths, and weaknesses, and the player's job is to guide the character through various challenges and levels to achieve certain goals. Life isn't so different. We each have our own character, our personality, skills, and circumstances. And we're constantly navigating through different levels: school, work, relationships, personal growth, trying to achieve our goals. But here's where life gets more interesting than any video game. In life, we're not just the player, we're also the game designer. Through our thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions, we're constantly shaping the game world we inhabit. Think about it this way. In a video game, if you believe a certain door is locked, you won't try to open it. In life, if you believe something is impossible for you, you won't try to do it. But just like in a game where you might later discover that the door was actually unlocked all along, in life you might realize that what you thought was impossible was actually within your reach. Approaching life as a game can be incredibly empowering. It encourages us to 1. Be curious and explore. Just like in a game, there might be hidden opportunities or resources around every corner. 2. Learn from failures. In games, when you lose a life or fail a level, you learn and try again. Life can be approached the same way. 3. Level up. Games are all about improving your skills and abilities. In life, we can constantly work on developing our strengths and overcoming our weaknesses. 4. Enjoy the journey. While games have end goals, a lot of the fun is in playing the game itself. The same can be true for life. 5. Change the rules. If we don't like how our game is going, we can change our perceptions and beliefs to create a new set of rules. Remember, though, that this is not about trivializing life or avoiding responsibility. It's about approaching life with a sense of curiosity, resilience, and empowerment. It's about recognizing that while we can't control everything that happens in the game of life, we have much more control over our experience of it than we often realize. So how can we start applying these ideas in our daily lives? Here are some practical steps you can take to start seeing the world differently and playing the game of life better. 1. Question your beliefs. Start paying attention to your automatic thoughts and beliefs. When you encounter a situation, ask yourself, is this really true, or is it just what I've always believed? You might be surprised at how many of your truths are actually just habitual thoughts. 2. Practice gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful tool for shifting your perception. Each day, try to notice and appreciate at least 3 things in your life, no matter how small. This helps train your brain to focus on the positive aspects of your reality. 3. Reframe negative situations. When something bad happens, challenge yourself to find a positive aspect or learning opportunity. This doesn't mean denying your feelings, but rather looking for a perspective that empowers you rather than victimizes you. 4. Visualize your desired reality. Spend some time each day imagining your ideal life in vivid detail. Remember, your brain doesn't always distinguish between what's real and what's vividly imagined. By consistently visualizing your goals, you're training your brain to look for opportunities to make them real. 5. Act as if. Behave as if you're already the person you want to be. If you want to be confident, act confident. If you want to be kind, act kind. Over time, these actions can actually reshape your beliefs about yourself and your reality. 6. Meditate or practice mindfulness. These practices can help you become more aware of your thoughts and how they're shaping your experience. They can also help you learn to choose your thoughts more deliberately. 7. Experiment. Try making small changes in your thoughts or behaviors and observe how they affect your experience. Treat life like a series of experiments, where you're constantly learning and refining your approach. Remember, changing your perception of reality isn't about denying facts or pretending everything is perfect. It's about recognizing the role that your mind plays in shaping your experience and learning to use that knowledge to create a more fulfilling life. As we wrap up this journey into the nature of reality and the power of our minds, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've explored. We've delved into the idea that the world as we know it might be more of an illusion than we typically believe. not in the sense that nothing is real, but in the sense that our experience of reality is largely shaped by our own minds. We've seen how our perceptions, beliefs, and thoughts act like invisible lenses, coloring everything we see and experience. We've explored the profound connection between our inner world of thoughts and feelings and the outer world of our experiences and circumstances. We've questioned the illusion of separation, recognizing that we're more deeply connected to the world around us than we often realize. We've also looked at why everything seems so real, even if it's largely a construction of our minds, and how we can approach life as a game that we're both playing and designing. Finally, we've discussed some practical steps we can take to start reshaping our reality in positive ways. The power of these ideas lies not just in understanding them intellectually, but in applying them to our daily lives. By recognizing that we have more control over our reality than we often realize, we open ourselves up to incredible possibilities for growth, happiness, and fulfillment. This doesn't mean that life will always be easy or that we can simply wish away all our problems. The physical world does have its own reality and challenges. But by understanding how our minds shape our experience of that world, we gain a powerful tool for navigating those challenges and creating the life we want to live. So as you go about your day, remember, the world you're experiencing is, in many ways, a reflection of what's going on in your own mind. By changing your thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions, you have the power to change your reality. It's like having the cheat codes to the ultimate game, the game of life. Take some time to experiment with these ideas. Notice how your thoughts affect your experiences. Practice shifting your perceptions and see how it changes your world. And most importantly, approach life with curiosity, openness, and a sense of empowerment. You are the creator of your reality. So what kind of world do you want to create?